Springfield, Missouri. Thanks for joining us. We are at the 32nd Annual Christian Homeschool Basketball National Championship. Scott Staten along with Paul Gilmore, and you were watching the boys 18U Division I Pool B game. This is the Tennessee Heat, the #1 seed in this pool. They are in white uniforms as they drive and have a quick score inside by Thatcher Bond. And grab a 2-0 lead. They're playing the Benton Bucks, who are in the dark uniforms. Benton out of Indiana, just south of South Bend. And the Bucks a little bit earlier today lost in their first pool game. This is Tennessee's first game. Boy, they've been on a roll this year and going to try to continue that as a 1 seed in this pool. Here's a shot goes up by Cooper. That's no good, and a rebound by Tennessee coming the other way. Paul, Tennessee has just really been a juggernaut this year.
Yeah,
they draw the foul there.
So they won the Southeast Regional, which made them one of the top seeds here at our tournament. So they're the #1 seed here in Pool B, as you mentioned. And a strong start so far. A lot of offensive rebounds and quick 4-0 lead.
On the inbounds, the shot was missed, but Diesmang was in there to put it back in, the sophomore center. And it's a 4-0 lead now for the Tennessee Heat. Coming the other way is the Benton Bucks. They gave their first game quite an effort, but were not able to pull it out. And Tennessee there with the block. Boy, they've given them trouble already on the inside, but then coming the other way, Cooper with a block of his own for Benton. We saw in his first game, Cade Cooper really had a presence on the floor at both ends, just a hustler, and that time he was able to get the block. 4-0 still, just a minute and a half into this one, first quarter. Boys 18U, Division I Pool B. This is the second game for Benton, the first game for Tennessee. They'll have another game later on tonight.
Tennessee's causing all kinds of problems so far with their outside pressure. Benton looking for any way to attack, and they have not been successful thus far.
Roman Wright with the ball, trying to work it around, find a seam somewhere in that defense. Outside is Swihart. Swihart with the three, little long. Rebound comes off into the hands of Diesmang. On up ahead, the Tennessee Heat bring it onto the other side of the end of the court. They drive it in. Great dish down low by Thatcher Bond, and they put it in. Shot was made by #1 Ben Groth, and he will get a chance to get an and one here and make this a 7-0 lead to start this one off.
And an early substitution as A.J. Fortson checks in.
Looked like Bond might have tweaked his knee a little bit when he took the ball down there, and I think they just want to make sure he's okay. Free throw is good by Groth. He completes the three-point play. And it's a 7-0 run to start this one for the Tennessee Heat, #1 seed. Both teams will advance and play more games regardless of who wins this one, but of course the Heat is the #1 seed, want to come away with a victory here. And good dish down low, that was Gagline, and he was able to hit his man to get the layup there for the Bucks. Their first points of the game, 7-2, just under 3 minutes into this one.
Cooper is so athletic on both ends of the floor, and on that time he had a couple of defenders jump up high, but he just went above them and put it in.
Groth going to work the ball around. Bounces it in the lane to Yasmain. Beautiful entry pass. He cannot get the shot to fall, and the rebound comes off to the Benton Bucks. Swihart will bring it up. Luke Swihart really led his team their last game in scoring, but they were unable to come away with the victory in a really tough one. Here is Gagline, drives it in and tries to scoop it up off the glass, and then on the rebound attempt, the Heat came down with it, but they were fouled, and that's going to be the third team foul now on the Benton Bucks. He looks to be okay, but they're going to take him off the court as well just to make sure he's all right. He goes in for the player that he replaced, I think, that they thought tweaked his knee. So trying to make sure, especially in these games where you have multiple games a day sometimes and multiple games this week, make sure everybody is able to stay up at full strength, and especially because this is their first game, and Tennessee hoping to make a deep run in this tournament, Paul.
As somebody who has not played in this tournament for quite a while, I won't tell you how long ago, I will tell you it's important to protect your knees.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. The knees tend to be the first thing to go, too. I can tell you that. I'm a little bit older than you, Paul, and yeah, I feel it sometimes. I thought I got away with it playing basketball, but not so much. That time on the drive, it was Gagline. He draws the contact, and he will be at the free throw line himself. Try to cut into this 7-2 lead that the Tennessee Heat have. Tennessee Heat down in the Nashville area, and we are familiar in homeschool basketball with some of those Nashville teams. NCC down there and some others. And really the Heat have come onto the scene and really worked their way to become really one of the power teams that are coming out of there. Of course, MHEA out of Memphis. And the free throw is good by Gagline. It's 7-3.
Tennessee historically has had such great homeschool programs. NCC had several years of a great run. Obviously, MHEA. Tennessee Heat have had several good seasons as well, and they're looking to make their deepest run ever this year.
That time Fortson took it inside, but Gagline was able to block what looked like it might have been a shot. Couldn't tell if it was going to be a pass, but they reset now in the paint. Oh, beautiful dish and down low, dropped in off the glass. Carson Diesmang, and he's got another bucket. That's 4 for him. 9-3 lead now, Tennessee Heat.
I've been very impressed with the teams in this tournament that are just so strong with the interior passing. These players know when to cut, they know when to be in the right spot, and then they also are finding those players at the right time.
Yeah, the passes in the paint, I think that's where you see the biggest difference in like positionless basketball. Is used to be that big men you never really saw pass a lot, and boy, we've seen a ton of that today. Interior passing game has been incredible. Talking about it right there, finds his man open down low. That was Jaden Rossi, and he drops in the bucket. It's 9-5 Tennessee. The Heat in the white uniforms with the red and black trim. The Bucks in the black uniforms with some gold trim, and looks like the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think that has to be a little bit on purpose unless they have the same creative minds behind their designs. And that on the dish down low, Diesmang once again, he's got 6 points, all in the paint, and it is 11-5 Tennessee.
Well, and speaking of creative minds, the way that these players are seeing Diesmang cut underneath has been a thing of beauty to watch.
Yeah, you can tell these guys know they've got that intuition where his guards know where he's going to cut and he knows where to go for them to find him. And so far he's really put his imprint on this game. And that time tried to get the block as Gagline went down the lane on the left side, but he gets called for the foul. And that's going to be I believe that's the first on him. And it'll be free throws once again for Gagline. He was 1 out of 2 the first time. He's got 2 more. First one rattles in. He'll get 1 more, some more substitutions. And for the Heat, Andrew Coffey. And also Cooper McSpadden. Second shot, no good. Splits them up again, gets 1 out of 2. It's 11-6. Tennessee Heat with the ball and the lead. First quarter, just about 6 minutes into this one. This will be the last game of the day for the Bucks. They'll have to wait and see how the rest of this pool shakes out to see who they would play tomorrow. And there's a steal. That pass looked to be just almost directly to him. Bringing it the other way, the Bucks. Right, pitches it to Cooper, who scoops it in with the left hand. He's got 4 now, and it's 11-8, hanging around. Benton Bucks.
I'm interested to see how Tennessee's going to handle their offensive possessions without Diesmang in there. He was such a pivotal role in their first quarter thus far, and since he's come out of the game, they've got 2 turnovers.
And just like that, as you mentioned, Fortson kind of got happy feet there, started to run before he dribbled the ball, and so now a chance to cut even more into that lead for the Benton Bucks. Wright will work it to the left side, being guarded closely by Yemaine. Looked like he was going to pass it there, but then lifted his eyes and saw a wide open lane, and Jaden Rossi with 2. He's got 4. 11-10. They've cut it down to 1. Tennessee with the ball, clinging to a lead here in this first period. Boys 18U Division I Pool B. On the drives, contact there, and they get the whistle. Ben Groth, the senior, he will be going to the free throw line to shoot 2 himself. And we've talked a lot about this, but we keep reminding because we know that we pick up viewers maybe who haven't watched earlier because now their team is playing. But this year in high school ball with the changes, once you hit the limit, on what used to be the bonus in the and one as he hits the first. It's always 2 shots now. And so that's going to come into play as we have some of these close games. And you may be a little confused if you're watching and wondering why, if it wasn't on a shot, did they get 2? Well, that's why. Second shot good.
It's always interesting, too, when you come to the national tournament because all of these teams have been playing in different states.
Yeah.
And different states have different rules at the high school level. So
absolutely,
Missouri is one of those states that adopted the abolition, I guess, if you will, of the
the and one, the penalty.
Yep.
There's a shot. Gagline really struggled to score in this first game, but he's already got 4 here, and that's his first jumper, and it's a 1-point game again.
Yeah, so Missouri did away with the 1-and-1, and they have the 2-shot rule. So Rob and them decided, you know what, we're going to use the rules of the state, and that's going to be a turnover that is against
Ben Groth.
Ben Groth.
Lost his footing there. He's trying to drive and probably dish down low the way they've been playing, but before he had a chance to do that, he was called for the travel.
And now the Bucks have a chance to take the lead.
Well, they just quietly hang around. They did that in their first game. And here they are once again. Gagline in the lane, stops, pops, no good. 25 seconds left in this first opening period. Coming the other way, the Heat. Here's a shot outside by Cooper McSpadden, gets it to roll. And it is 15-12, 15 seconds left. Benton going to try to cut into that 3-point deficit. They'll get the last shot here if everything goes as planned for them. 6 seconds left on the drive. Dishes, here's in the corner. Gagline, 3, rims out. Rebound comes down to the Heat, and that's the way this first quarter will end. So after 1, it is the number 1 seed in Pool B for boys 18U, Division I, the Tennessee Heat. They lead the Benton Bucks 15-12. We'll be back with the second period after this break.
So just wanted to clarify, as the quarter was finishing, that we had on the defensive rebound, before Groth threw it the full length of the floor, the referee right in front of the play whistled a foul, and that was Benton's 5th foul, so they are in the penalty. So Groth will actually shoot 2 free throws before the end of the quarter.
Yeah, everybody had started heading home, including us, and or at least to their benches, and what do you know, we just got done talking about how these 5 fouls gives you 2 shots, but he missed the first, missed the second, so it doesn't make any difference in the scorebook, but it did give him a couple of 0.2 of a second left to play. So now we actually in the first quarter, same score, 15-12. We'll be back with the second after this timeout. Welcome back. Quarter number 2 here. Boys 18U, Division I, Pool B. And right now it's Tennessee Heat holding a 15-12 lead. Tennessee Heat in the white. Benton Bucks out of Indiana in the black. And they have the ball. And then there's a steal. Turnover on the Bucks. Coming the other way quickly. Tennessee Heat. They'll back it out, set up their offense, and work it around. Some of their starters on the bench right now. Had a little bit of foul trouble. Also some injuries, nothing serious it look like, but just making sure. Here's a three, work the ball outside, and great ball movement there. A.J. Fortson rather, with the three-pointer. That's their first connection from behind the line.
Yeah, I love the touch pass from Yamani in the paint there. He almost like a Jokic-like pass where he just barely even tipped it and it went straight back out for the three-pointer.
Great read. They do find the open man. There's a steal, knocked away by Fortson again. The sophomore going to drive it, take it all the way up with the left hand. No good, but he gets the foul on the contact, as looked like that time it was Swihart's going to be called for the foul. He hustled back to get it, but was unable to get in good position, and on the miss, he is called for the foul.
It's a tough position to be for the defender, because I saw Swihart sprint full speed back to get into that position.
Right.
Chose not to challenge or even jump, but I guess because of the landing zone and the body contact, still got whistled for the foul anyways.
Yeah, it is tough. And we've seen a lot of times already today as the first one falls for Fortson, where the players have run into that stanchion in the back, and it's a good thing it's padded, but just one of those things you got to be really careful, because players they soar a lot more than they used to, and I think that the whole placement of these backboards and the stanchions, sometimes they got to look at being able to scoot them back some, because these guys are flying in there. Missed the second one. It's 19-12. Tennessee with the lead. Benton Bucks with the ball, has the 3 seed, and that time it was Gagline was unable to hold his footing. His foot slid, and he gets called for the turnover. Into the game comes number 1, Ben Groth, the senior. Groth had several free throws and a jumper in that first quarter. He's going to try to get back in the groove, bringing the ball up. Number 4, Thatcher Bond. A lot of sophomores on this team, not just seniors. And there's a shot from outside. Another 3. Fortson able to connect once again. Lead up to 10 now, just like that.
And you can see the intensity picking up for Tennessee.
And then that time on the steal, you could see Rossi got frustrated and just grabbed the defender as Tennessee came away with the ball, and they've seemed to really turn up the heat, so to speak, on their defense.
I see what you did there.
I wish I could say that was intentional. It just happened. Yamani with the ball, feet onto the block, and goes up, loses the ball. Here comes Benton the other way. It's going to be Swihart. Swihart's going to take it all the way in. Challenge, but puts it in. Good hustle back by Bond, but he could not stop the score there. 22-14. Benton cutting into that lead. On the drive and the drop in. That's Groth, the senior. Kind of did a jump step and floated it up over the front side of the rim to get that to fall. He gets the bucket and a chance for a three-point play.
And one thing Tennessee did so well there is, despite the lay-in by Swihart, they were immediately back the other way and not even giving Benton much of a chance to set up on their defense or celebrate or anything.
Yep, it was an absolute quick reaction. You can't drop your head when the other team scores, and sometimes you'll find a good opportunity for yourself when you don't. Bringing it up for the Bucks is Swihart. His team trailing by 10 right now. The lead's grown to double digits for Tennessee. They are the 1 seed in this pool. First game of the day for them. Bucks lost earlier, trying to pull a win out of today's action. On the drive, Gagline can't get it to go, too strong. Bringing it the other way is Groth for the Heat. He goes into the paint all the way, jump stop, puts it in, and the lead is their largest of the day now at 26-14.
Groth is so shifty with the rock. I mean, he's had to slide through several defenders, Euro stepping, laying it in, just very, very skillful on the offensive end.
Swihart, meanwhile, on their end, goes up, throws it off the backboard too strong. He doesn't like the call, and he's got to get control of himself there. He can't be too demonstrative, as you said in the earlier game. Didn't like the call, but it really looked like a frustration foul as he missed the shot, thought he had it, and then grabbed the defender clearly in front of the official who made the call. And coach calls a timeout, going to settle him down just a little bit. Coach Wright, and as we talked about, and if you didn't catch the earlier game, you talked about Paul, how he plays in college, but because of an injury was able to come back and work with his brother this year to be able to coach his team.
Yeah, really unique situation. He's playing for NAIA, Goshen University, And I apologize if I'm misstating that. Maybe it's Goshen College, Goshen University. But NAIA school up there in Indiana, right where the Benton Bucks are already playing. And he freshman year had a shoulder injury, unfortunately sidelined him for the year. And so his dad asked him, hey, you know, if you're not too busy now, you mind coming to help out the program that you just played for?
You kind of think, and you hate it when, like, your parents, they got you. He knows that he's not playing, right? So when he asks him, he's really not asking. He's like, hey, you're free now, so why don't you help this out? Yeah, that's pretty awesome. But it's got to be fun, too, for his younger brother, be able to have his older brother come back and coach him. And Benton, good showing, even though they lost earlier. They were in that game throughout, but unable to pull out the victory. And trying to pull off an upset here, at least seeding-wise, against the Tennessee Heat. Heat will bring it in just to our right. They lead at 26-14, just about 3 minutes into this second quarter. They'll have one more game this evening, the Tennessee Heat, where they will play the 2 seed in their pool. And then depending on everyone's records, they'll all 3 teams in each pool will get to play tomorrow. But the team who is the 3rd place in that pool, of each pool, will end up playing against a 2 seed tomorrow, so that they each have a chance to advance. So your season's not just not over, but you also still have a chance to win titles. Ball worked around by Tennessee. There's a dish onto the block. Oh, power move. Ben Groth. You see him shooting outside that time. He just drives it and muscles it in. That is his 7th point of this quarter.
He's scoring on some of these plays where you're wondering about the actual physics of it. Like, how did he actually get that ball through all of those arms and in the basket?
Great move there by Groth. Let's see if there's an answer by the Bucks here. Wright kicks it out top. There's a 3 that is too long by Nate Becker. He connected on several of those in his first game. Couldn't get that one to go. And then a dish, nice pass from Cooper. He is able to make that one connect. That lead is cut down now to 12 for Tennessee with the ball.
Oh, that ball is blocked, but not before Cooper runs into the body.
Yeah, he landed. He to get that kind of elevation, there's no stopping in midair. They don't make those kind of breaks. And he landed on the shooter for Tennessee. That's going to be Thatcher Bond at the free throw line for 2.
And the hard part about that is you just had an amazing defensive play, but it didn't matter because you still were whistled for the foul.
Yeah. Oh, they're giving him 3 shots. They said he was behind the line, yeah. In case you're wondering, as he hits the second of 3, connect on the first 2. While you're watching, you'll see a couple of different lines out there. That's because we're at Drury University, and so the college 3-point line a little bit further back than the high school one. So even though they're inside that red line, as long as they're behind the white line on the 3-pointers, as he sinks all 3, then it still counts as a 3 in high school. So, boy, that really hurt as the Bucks trying to make a comeback, and now they look up and find themselves down by 15. Right into the corner. Shot by Becker is good. Nate Becker hits his first 3 of this game, but he's had several already in this tournament. And lead back down to 12, so he gets back the 3-point play. And, boy, nice strong spin move inside by Groth. I got to correct myself. I know that Groth can shoot and can drive, but, man, he has become a post player this quarter.
Yeah, he is putting on a clinic down low, and it doesn't matter who's matched up against him. He's finding ways to get to his spot and put it in.
Cooper with the floater. That's his 6th point of the game. Trying to keep his team in it, down by 12. 3:20 to go, second quarter. Tennessee Heat. Groth going to run their offense. There's a floater inside, and that's Cooper McSpadden gets it to fall. That's his first points of the game. 35-21, 3:11 to go.
And this is kind of danger time for Benton because you're at that point now where the things can start getting out of hand a little bit if you don't start putting some baskets and getting some stops.
Tennessee not really struggling like we saw with some of the other #1 pool seeds. They came out on fire. On the drive, boy, a lot of contact. They let him play there. Shot goes over everything, and back coming the other way is Groth. He's grabbed from behind, and that's going to be I'm not sure they've kept up with that. If that's the 7th team foul of this quarter. then he definitely will get to shoot 2.
And the other piece of that, too, is that was Gagline's third, and he was trailing the play. I'm not sure exactly why he chose to put his hands on Growth.
He sinks the first. I've got him down for 13 or 14 points. Got one more. Yeah, it seems to me they're hitting, as he sinks the second, rattled around, but it still counts as one. That you've seen a couple of frustration fouls by the Bucks. Really trying, I mean, you can't blame their effort, but, boy, you got to be smart enough, especially when you got some players you need to keep on the floor to be able to stay in this one. 37-21, 2:30 to go, second quarter. Benton Bucks with the ball. Trying to figure out something to get closer to the Tennessee Heat. That's Gagline. He drives, pump fakes, and draws the contact. That foul's going to be on number 33, Andrew Coffey, senior for the Tennessee Heat. They are not in the bonus yet, so it'll be an inbounds under their own basket. There's a lob, and Cooper tried to out-jump, and it looked like he did out-jump the defenders, but the whistle was blown. I think they got Fortson. Hacked him across the arm trying to get the ball. That's his first. Bucks will try it again under their own basket. Into Cooper. Stops at the free throw line, puts it up, rattles around, no good, but the rebound comes off to Rossi. Up top to Becker. Becker, 3, got another one. And we got a quick timeout, and so Becker's been able to do that today, Paul. We've seen him in the first game hit 3 in a row, and then right now that's his second one in this quarter, trying to keep his team close. They're down 13, and what do you do if you are the Benton Bucks right now? You got a Tennessee Heat team that is really clicking on all cylinders. They're playing good defense. They're shooting from outside. They're driving the lane. How do you stop that onslaught of points?
Well, that three-pointer from Becker was needed in the worst way possible, because what that allows them to do, one, when you hit shots, it allows you to set up your defense. But if I'm Benton, the thing that has been really hurting our team is that interior passing, interior buckets. I mean, Ben Growth alone, he's got 12 points here in the second quarter.
Right.
Either all from in the paint or free throws.
Yeah.
So if I'm Benton, I know that Tennessee's capable of hitting three-pointers because they've hit some as well. But I'm taking my chances to pack the paint a little bit more, because that's really what's hurting right now.
Got to do something to stop the it's like a welcome mat right under the basket. End of the game, I got to say, my buddy Ian Spurgeon, he's got a relative that goes to my church. Hey, Jessica, thanks for watching. He's into the game now for the Heat, and here's the three-point shot is good. A.J. Fortson, that's his third 3 of the quarter. And just like that, it is up to 16 points.
So I amend my statement. I would pack the paint, but get out on Fortson.
That is the problem that is posed to their opponents. You can try to take away the inside, but then you got to guard the outside. There's another 3. Boy, Becker is on fire. It's third in a row. He's done that in last game and this game. Had a streak where he's hit 3 in a row. And now Tennessee having a little bit of problem guarding the perimeter. 40-27, 1:20 to go here in the second. Tennessee with the lead. They're the number 1 seed in their pool, Pool B. This is their first game of this national tournament.
I'm not sure if Becker or Fortson took part in the three-point contest yesterday, so now they're doing their own three-point contest here in the second quarter.
That time a drive inside or outside by Andrew Coffey was blocked. I believe that was Cooper again. Then at the other end, another 3. That one's short. Spurgeon with the rebound. Gets it over to Thatcher Bond, who will bring it up. Under a minute to go. 13-point lead for Tennessee. Here comes Bond down the lane with the left hand. He was challenged by Cooper, but Bond gets it to drop. He's got 7 on the day. 42-27, 36 seconds to go. Benton Bucks trying to end this half with some kind of flurry. They've trailed pretty much the entire game. Stuck with them in the first quarter. Their last game was a close one. You got to wonder if that's starting to take a little bit of wind out of them, Paul, as the clock winds down 16 seconds here in this first half. Wright's going to peruse the defense. He gets double-teamed, and Spurgeon gets called on the hand check. That'll be his first. 7 seconds to go. Still not in the bonus yet.
So I have to ask, when it comes to Spurgeon, any relation to Charles?
You know, I have to ask that. That's always been in the back of my mind, and I've never asked. But, I mean, maybe. It's not a common name, so should we just say yes? I don't know. Here's the drive as the first half ends. Wright can't get it to go. Tip-in attempt no good, and the clock goes off, and that's how we will end this first half of play. It's the Tennessee Heat with a commanding 42-27 lead over the Benton Bucks. We'll be back after we take this break at halftime with second half action.
When my body needs relief, I real-time it. I'd like to introduce you to my knockout pain formula, real-time pain relief. Its soothing lotion is rich in nature's ingredients and helps me manage discomfort day or night. And it smells great too. From muscle strains to soreness to simple back aches and arthritis, real-time it and knock out your pain. It works for me and it will work for you. Real-time pain relief, it's a knockout. When my body needs relief, I real-time it. I'd like to introduce you to my knockout pain formula, real-time pain relief. Its soothing lotion is rich in nature's ingredients and helps me manage discomfort day or night. And it smells great too. From muscle strains to soreness to simple back aches and arthritis, real-time it and knock out your pain. It works for me and it will work for you. Real-time pain relief, it's a knockout.
And welcome back to Drury University here in Springfield, Missouri for day one of the NCHBC National Tournament. The Tennessee Heat in white taking on the Benton Bucks in black. I'm CJ Pomeroy, joined by Paul Gilmore, stepping in for the second half here on our broadcast team. Tennessee with the 42-27 lead. Stepping out of bounds is number 12, Carson Dismang. Benton trying to figure out how they're going to overcome a 15-point deficit here, Paul.
Yeah, in that first half, they were led by Nate Becker, who hit 3 threes in the second quarter. But outside of that, not much going on. Cooper had a basket, Swihart had a basket, and that was it. So they've got to find a way to get some other people involved or just continue to find ways to feed Becker. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ben Groth had an incredible second quarter, as did A.J. Fortson. Groth now leads the scoring for Tennessee Heat with 15 and Fortson with 10.
Yeah, there's a foul there by Diesmang. And hopefully I'm getting that right. If not, feel free to get on the Twitter and let us know. We want to hear from you. We like that feedback. NCHBCL is what you should see on your screen. And also let us know how the game is going as far as how you're watching it. Benton down 17 now. Working against this man-to-man defense. Pressure applied by Tennessee. Great attack. Not necessarily a great shot selection, but they're going to get the foul call. It looks like that's going to go against 33, Andrew Coffey, the senior. And stepping to the line for 2 will be Cade Cooper. So when you're down 17 points, scoring when the clock is not running becomes very, very important to your comeback.
And that first free throw is good. And you're exactly right. As Benton is looking to hang around in this game, which is what they did in the first game, it was a nice back and forth, and they ultimately fell short just at the end of the fourth quarter. But on this end, when they've got to come back, they've got to get stops, and they've got to try to get points with in any way they can, but certainly with the clock stopped.
And they're going to try and do it with a zone defense, which if you're going to play zone, you're going to have to apply a lot of pressure and try and trap out of it. But if you allow post players to get positioned like that, it becomes very hard to play a winning zone defense.
Meanwhile, they're also going to have to contend with Dismang and the size mismatch that he offers for Tennessee.
That was really good defensive play right there by Dismang, especially with the foul trouble that he has. And here comes Groth. He's going to lead the charge. Great move right there. Spin, look for the big man low, reverse layup. That's how you play basketball right there. Timeout on the court after a great penetration by Ben Groth and the dish to the big man for the reverse layup.
You might even say that the Benton Bucks, after that basket, are feeling a bit of dismaying.
Maybe just a little bit as he runs to the back of the locker room. So maybe we'll see a change here, much to Tennessee's dismay.
And he's back.
And he's back, so never mind on that. But 48-29 now is the score. Been a really good day of basketball, though, all across the board. We did it differently this year. We got the pool plays going on day one, at both Ozarks and here at Drury University. And just a lot of really good games that we've seen throughout the day. More to come as we're going to hand out Sweet 16 invitations by the time the night is over. I say invitations, but they're really going to win their way into the Sweet 16.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, they've got that last pool play game for all of these teams coming up. And once that happens, when we have the one seed play the winners, or the one seed's playing the winners, then you'll see who is going to take each pool. And those winners of each pool, like you mentioned, have captured their way into the Sweet 16.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the others will play a pool play game tomorrow.
That was a great transition break right there from the Tennessee Heat. And I'll tell you what, Ben Groth, he can elevate.
Yeah.
Drawing the foul as he went up, was not able to capitalize on the layup, but he'll get 2 here from the free throw line.
You would have to imagine over the course of his career that he has shown a lot of personal growth and basketball growth.
Yes, and he is looking to hopefully take that to the next level. He'd like some more collegiate growth.
I would imagine so. The senior has certainly looked very strong in this game. Granted, this is the first one for Tennessee Heat, so they'll have another one towards the end of our nightcap, but very, very impressed.
But if you're Coach Bond and you're getting a game like that from one of your best players on the team, if not the best player on the team, in game 1, that is exactly what you're looking for. Benton Bucks down 21. They are just trying to find any way at all to stop the bleeding here. Penetration, kick it out, look for the deep 3. And just, man, I tell you what, Tennessee is relentless to the ball. Almost turned it over, but still possessing. They're going to look to go to Dismang in the post.
And he's getting doubled on the backside. It didn't matter. Still found a way to kick it out.
I tell you what a head Tennessee is going to answer that. Thatcher Bond is going to knock it down.
And that's the hard part. You finally get a basket, and then you go down to their end, and they knock down a big triple to answer.
You know, they call three-pointers momentum builders. They also call it momentum killers. And Benton had that, what they were hoping was a momentum builder, and then Thatcher said, here, let me stop that. One more? No. Pull-up jumper. Good.
Wow, that's a tough shot.
That is a very tough shot. I was thinking the exact same thing as he was coming around. He passed up what should have been. You just nailed a 3 from right there. You think, hey, I just hit this one. Let me go for 2 more. Instead, 2 dribbles, pull up from the elbow. The mid-range game is not something you see necessarily as much these days, and that right there was very good basketball. Benton answers with the 2 of their own, but down low, dribbling into the contacts. Man, Dismang just a sophomore too. Wow, he's going to be here at this tournament for a couple years. 3:05 to play.
We talked about earlier just the proliferation of very skilled big men that have popped up so far just today on this court. Obviously, we can only speak for Drury University as Wright flips it in. You know, I'm sure Ozarks as well, but, you know, we've had big men like Andrew Thomas, Robert Dawkins, Toby Pike, Jonathan Babcock, Grimes from Tyler Heat, and now we're throwing Dismang into that bunch as well.
Yep.
And, you know, normally these kind of games and tournaments are very guard-oriented, guard-dominated, but, man, so far I've been incredibly impressed with the big men at the NCHBC.
And Texas Lions has 2 that are pretty good little players. Fort Wayne has got a pretty good-sized team as well. I had the 8 o'clock game over at Ozarks this morning with the Texas Lions, and they showed up ready to play this morning. Now, Coach Leo will tell you different, but his team was going from the get-go. That's a big 3 right there. They've hit a couple of them here in this quarter. Lead still is 18 points. It really is going to come down to whether or not they can get stops on this end.
Yeah, Becker has been a sniper all day today. He did so in the earlier game as well, and he's got several. As a matter of fact, that's his 4th three-pointer of this game. But unfortunately, unless they're able to get some stops, it may be a little bit too little too late, although there is still a whole nother quarter to play.
If you're Benton, I think what you ought to be doing right now is applying pressure on the ball. You've got Dismang on the bench, and you have Growth on the bench. So now is the time to try and get some points back, but it's going to take pressure.
Meanwhile, Thatcher Bond is strong on the handle, except that time was last touched.
So right there, they need to come, I think, a little bit faster, but great job on the defensive end. Groth will check back in as Bond will check back out. Dismang still on the bench, so you still have an opportunity to try and get some points here for Benton. Minute 25, if they can get the lead to 12, I think they ought to feel really good about their fourth quarter. But you need a good possession here against this zone defense that Tennessee has put out. They got a corner man open the baseline. A little high at the moment. Back across the top. Good penetration there off the glass. Can't get it to go. There for his board. Last touched by the Tennessee Heat. And Tennessee will go to a man on the inbounds play here. Yep, they're looking for that corner three. Great set play on the baseline out of bounds. Great effort there. And we're going to get a jump ball. Jaden Rassi. Rassi?
Mm-hmm.
Great job on the offensive rebound. Took it up and got tied up. And they're going to look to do another screen. They're trying to free up their three-point shooters. They shoot the three pretty well. Good penetration there by Jaden. Good. Oh, man. He was there, got what he wanted. How about three? There for the putback and the foul. Elijah Finney catching that three, going right back up with it, getting fouled on the way down, and that will work if you're Benton.
I can't imagine that Tennessee is too excited about how this quarter is ending so far. I mean, that's a lot of offensive possessions in a row for Benton, and ends up in an and one.
Yeah, if you don't want to give Benton momentum as they go into the fourth quarter. So this possession becomes really important. Ben Groth is going to lead the way. And we're going to see what they're going to do here. It doesn't look like they're playing with too much urgency, so I expect a last-second shot. Great little play. How about a backside dunk for the Tennessee Heat? Little give and go action. Ben Groth going to throw it down at the buzzer. Is no good for Benton. Well, we talked about momentum going into the fourth. A dunk is exactly how you want to go into the next quarter. 59-42 after three. We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back at Drury University, where Ben Groth just finished the third quarter with a two-hand slam off the give and go, extending the lead for the Tennessee Heat over the Benton Bucks to 17. Benton was down 21, had gotten it down to 15. And Ben is going to get the foul as he went up for it and go back to the line for two, where he hit his last two free throws. And, man, Paul, if you're Benton, you worked so hard to get that lead from 21 to 15. You give up the dunk. Then you start the fourth with a foul and free throws. Disheartening start. Really disheartening last 30 seconds of play here. they're working very hard to get back in the game. Still time, even though it's 19, there's still time, but it is going to take a ton of defensive effort and probably going to have to work pretty quickly offensively and getting good looks.
And I would absolutely agree with you in terms of how disheartening it is. On top of that, you look at the absolute mismatch problem it is to have someone like Ben Groth who's got the guard skills, but he's got the strength and the size, and then he has the vision to pass it out to a Thatcher Bond, and before you know it, you look up and you're down 22.
Yeah, and just like that, Dismang was on the bench there toward the end. He's back on the court, and so now if you're Benton, you're having to guard the big man, and then you have 2 guards that you then have to think about, and that's hard work to do. And Benton turns it over here. And right now, if you are the Tennessee Heat, you are looking to put this game away pretty quickly.
Well, and like we mentioned it earlier in the game that, you know, it gets to a point where you're at almost like a tipping point in the game. And, you know, it's one of those situations where we talked about disheartening as Becker's going to fire up another 3. And you look up and you're down 24, but it really in some ways doesn't feel like it's been that kind of a game. But Tennessee Heat just puts the pressure on and puts points up in a hurry.
That pressure's been a great shot right there by Coffey. Good 3. Great left hand. Well, I'm not going to call it a great pass, but I like the idea that Dismang had trying to go with the left hand out to the wing. Man was open. Now, Paul, we talked about this morning on the broadcast how we're in pool play, and so point differential now matters. So even though, you know, this is a 21-point game, and if you're Benton Buck fans, you're rooting for your team to win the game still. But you really, right now, you got to be focused on trying to close this gap as much as possible. So you've got to keep going.
It's a good point, and I just want to clarify for any of the viewers at home, one of the things that's been put in place for pool play at the boys 18U is that the point differential matters only up to 20 points. So anything beyond that, you know, the idea is not for you to run up the score by 60, you know, just to help your point differential. So up to 20, it matters. And later this evening, Tennessee Heat will be playing San Antonio Patriots, which will be a good contest as well, as the Patriots won the earlier game against Benton. And so, again, it does matter, but it's not a free-for-all on the point differential.
Right. But if you're losing, you want to close that gap as much as you can. Benton down 19. The key is, can they try probably in the next 2 minutes, can they get that to – as a former coach, I would say at the 3-minute mark, if I can be down 10-12, I feel good about my chances.
Yeah, it's certainly a tall task. It's back down to 19, so relatively good little mini run here from Benton as the free throw just rolls out.
The play by Tennessee is just, they're fast, very fast. They got 2 guards that can handle the ball coming up the court. They got a big man that runs the floor. They seem to attack in waves. So Benton now will deploy the man-to-man pressure, which is what you're going to have to do. And referee saw something on his end. It looks like got him on the arm or maybe on the body.
Cooper came across on the backside to help with Dismang, and I'm not sure why, but he swatted down really hard. And a lot of the times the refs are going to call that every time whenever they notice that swipe down motion. It's similar to when you're a guard. You know, I was taught that you swipe up, going for a steal, not down.
Yep.
Because for whatever reason, visually, as a referee, it just looks different. It looks more aggressive when you're swiping down.
Yep. So back to 20 points here. And they're going to put Rassi on the bottom, kick it out. Reposition a couple of shooters into the corner. Good pass back. Should have taken the first one there. He repositioned himself, and I think he shot himself out of a great shot. I think his first one was going to be great. Another opportunity. Swihart coming down the floor. And right now, if you're Benton and you're trying to get back in the game, there's not a whole lot of time to dribble. At this point, first shots, first good looks are the best looks.
Well, and I think that's kind of the mentality that Becker's been taking in this game, as he has connected on 5 3-pointers, and he's certainly been a strong shooter for Benton. So CJ and I Jeremy and I talked about it on the earlier broadcast that he was putting up those kind of shots as well, and at some point you just kind of live with it because you know he's trying to shoot your team back into the game.
Right, and at this time, if you're Benton, everybody's got to be a scorer because you don't know how many opportunities to score the ball that you're going to need in order to claw this back. And so first looks, best looks. Great attack right there by Rassi. Almost got Thatcher not thinking. And now you're going to have to start applying big pressure, man-to-man. And if you're Tennessee, you're up 18. That's really not the shot that you need to take, especially when you know that's a good pump fake right there. And that's 35.
That's Becker. You could see the defense keying in on him. 2 guys flew out at him on the 3-point attempt, and he just drove right past them and laid it in, showing the versatility.
And looks like we're going to have a foul over on the side.
And I believe they called that foul on Swihart. That's his third.
And at this point, that's okay because you do need the clock to stop. You need a chance to reset your defense. See if you can't get a steal off of the inbounds. Don't want to let free the shooters. And attacking corner swing. Ooh.
It was a good presence of mind from Cooper as he caught that steal to try to keep it in bounds. Unfortunately, he just didn't quite have enough air.
Yeah, it looked like his foot referee felt like his foot caught the line there. But it was great effort. And he almost got another one.
Not sure about that shot attempt. It's similar to the one you were just talking about, CJ, where, you know, the clock is your friend in this scenario. The only thing that you pretty much can't do is take an unforced bad shot.
Every time you take a bad shot, you give the other team an opportunity to get back in the game. Unfortunately for Benton, the rim has not been their friend. There has been good looks, but they're just not shooting the ball very well today. Still down only 16. It feels like a whole lot more, but in reality, it's still only 16, and that's pretty good considering they haven't shot the ball to the degree that they would like to, and probably more accustomed to shooting. And that's what can happen when you're playing on a college floor with the college glass. That may sound a little weird, but I can say as a former shooter that the glass at the college backboard is much different, and so that can affect how your depth and how you shoot the ball, because all of a sudden you see all the way through the back wall as opposed to seeing that glass, and of course you use that as your field of view to measure your shot, right? And so when that's thrown off, makes shooting a little more difficult. And I saw that earlier today. We saw that with the Lightning. They really wanted to shoot the three, couldn't get the looks that they wanted, and the looks that they did get, they probably make most of the time. And it's also day one, national tournament.
It's a great point too. We're from the Houston area, and throughout the, last several years and in future years, the Houston hosts a lot of tournaments, and one of them being the NCAA tournament. And so they play the Final Four weekend or whatever, regional it is in NRG Stadium, which is where the Houston Texans NFL team plays. And you put a basketball floor in that cavernous space, which, again, Drury has all the bleachers pushed back on our end. And like you mentioned, it's got a big seating area behind the basket on the other end. And you're right. It affects the way that players have depth perception to the rim. It affects the way that, every shooter attacks from beyond the arc or mid-range or anything like that. So I would agree with you. I would imagine if you took these games and moved them, to a different location, that the shooting percentages would probably be higher.
Yes.
The results may not be any different, but I would imagine across the board shooting percentages would probably increase. But the great thing about that as well is that this week all these teams, as long as you keep winning, you keep playing at Drury. So the idea is that you continue to get used to playing here, get used to
you want to be here.
Exactly. You get used to the feature court, and then by the time it gets to later in the week, you're ready to go.
And I think right now 2 minutes to play, down 17. I'm not sure there's much opportunity here for Benton to get back into this. But if you are Benton, you're looking at this and you're an underclassman. You're saying, man, I want back here. I want to do this again, right? They're going to have another game later tonight, right? Does Benton play later tonight?
No, Benton's done after this game for today.
Okay. So,
but they will be playing the play-in game tomorrow.
Yeah, you want to get back here. You want to be here as much as you can, and so you keep playing. You keep playing. You keep playing. That was big, and minute and a half now. It's 11 points.
Yeah, they got 6 points there in about 10 seconds.
So, Paul, you and I have talked about this, how sometimes we say things and then the complete opposite. I had literally just said a minute ago there was 17 points.
Yeah,
now it's 11.
We started writing Benton off as a play-in team tomorrow.
You're welcome, Benton fans, if you're listening to us. We did that just for you. Tennessee Heat fans are probably like, will you please stop talking?
But it is a good point because, if the results were to hold in this particular game, for the fans that are back home, the way the pool works is, we mentioned earlier, it's a non-elimination pool. So even though Benton will have gone likely 0-2 today, they're still not out of the running for Undisputed Championship. All that means is tomorrow they finish as the 3 seed in this pool, which is Pool B. And so that means tomorrow they're going to get matched up with the 2 seed from another pool.
Yep.
So you're not playing your own pool teams again. You're playing another pool. You get fresh blood, fresh team coming in, don't know what to expect. They don't know what to expect from you. And now the winner of that game qualifies for top 16.
There you go.
So that's the path for Benton if they're looking for any silver lining in this game. They've played 2, tough games. They barely lost to San Antonio. It was a 2-point game at the end. And then they fought back against Tennessee Heat, which is a regional winner, one of the top teams in the tournament.
Well, they're going to say, the Benton boys on the floor are going to say, we're not quite done yet. I tell you what, a 3-pointer pretty quickly right here would make this very interesting for the last minute. So if you are the Benton coach, I'm wanting a quick 3-point shot right here off of this inbounds play. I don't want to go into an offense. I want a 3.
And Becker was inbounding it. I would imagine the action was for him coming off of some kind of screen.
Yep.
On that inbounds. But unfortunately didn't get a chance for that as the inbounder was fouled. That was Finney. Couldn't even catch the ball before he was bumped. So they'll get to do it again. And
the whole idea right there it is. Got exactly what you needed. Didn't get it to fall, but exactly what you were looking for Benton. And so now you're going to have to foul if you are the Bucks because you need this clock to stop. Good ball movement right there. Paul, I don't know if you did this in high school, but I know at practice we had a drill where you had to pass the ball for 1 minute.
That is correct.
Ben Groff right there with the 2-point bucket.
I remember that drill well because one of our friends that's going to be joining the broadcast on Wednesday, Jesse Sanders, is who I would have to guard in that drill all the time. And it's not fun to guard Jesse Sanders for 10 seconds, much less a minute.
Yeah.
Where he has free reign and free ball control to keep the ball from you.
Yep.
So I agree with you. I think those kind of drills are helpful, though, in these kind of situations whenever, you get to the point where now the game's probably out of reach. I don't imagine Benton chooses to foul at this point. But they can take a lot of pride in how they've matched up against the number 2 overall team ranked in the country.
Oh, good 3 right there by Mr. Becker. So checking in for the Heat, Will Norris will get a chance to get some minutes here. Isaiah Lingo. Good play right there. Max Robinson.
And I'm going to give a lot of credit to Becker. I want him to pull this shot right here. And the reason why is because he had 7 threes in today's game.
Wow.
So he really put on a clinic from behind the arc, trying to keep his team in the game and get them back in. But that's going to do it for this game. The Tennessee Heat, the number 1 seed, win 72-60 over the Benton Bucks. And Tennessee Heat will play later on tonight against San Antonio Patriots. But that's going to do it for us in this game. On behalf of CJ Pomeroy, my name is Paul Gilmore. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the action that is to come the rest of tonight at Drury and Ozarks and all over the rest of Springfield.